You're watching the Fox 5 Red Zone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us inside the Red Zone. Kevin Bollinger alongside Runnin' Rebels head coach Marvin Menzies, coming from you inside the UNLV basketball offices after really what was a rough week for the Runnin' Rebels, a close one Wednesday night, and then here on Saturday against Colorado State, just something where the second half everything fell apart.
Yeah, the first half I thought we did a really good job defensively. We held them to 39 points, the best team in the conference offensively. Did a great job on Clavel. Magbu got going. Made some tough shots though, and you could live with those if you're shutting everybody else down, which I thought we did the first half. But then the wheels fell off in the second half defensively for us, and they just did some really good things, made some really tough shots. And there's no excuses. We have to defend better than that for two halves. And I thought we put two halves together in the last game, even though we didn't win it. But tonight, I got to really go back and figure out how to grind these guys a little bit harder to get them to be more disciplined down the stretch. It's just not good enough to play in this conference with, just 20-minute games. You got to put 40 minutes together.
Well, let's take a closer look at this game against Colorado State, where, as we said, the first 20 minutes pretty good. The second 20 minutes, a lot of problems.
It was a rough start for the Runnin' Rebels as Colorado State started the game on a 7-0 run. Emmanuel Amagbo got rolling early. UNLV's defense got them back in it. The steal by JoJo Mooring ahead to Zion Morgan, who misses the lay-in, but Chekna Dembele is there to clean it up. Uche Ofebu hit a three, and Christian Jones drives for the bucket. Amagbo was a dominant force, to the rim for the basket, then another drive, and he knocks down a triple as CSU built an 11-point lead. The Rebs rattled off 7 straight to answer. JoJo feeds Green down low for the lay-in, and then in transition, the duo hooks up again. But Amagbo played run stopper with a three. UNLV came back on the break. Morgan feeds CJ. He throws it down as the Rebels spot within 2. Colorado State, though, scored the final 5 points of the half, capped by picking the lazy pass, and Prentice Nixon gets a dunk on the other end. UNLV was down 31-24 at the break. The Rams came out strong to open the second half. J.D. Page with the free path to the basket for the slam. Then Gene Clavel started hitting up. After the Rebels shut him down in the first half, Clavel went on a scoring rampage, including a lay-in, 2 3-pointers, and a jumper as they opened up an 18-point lead. The Rebels tried to fight their way back in midway through the second as Morgan gets the offensive rebound and feeds Jalen Poyser for the lay-in, and then Morgan followed with a jumper. But UNLV just couldn't get open looks to fall, and they struggled generating a whole lot of offensive output in the second half. They shot 18 of 59 for the game, including 4 of 24 from three-point range and 9 of 17 from the line, as Colorado State takes it 69-49.
The one thing, at least from my eyes, that I noticed, the team seemed a little flat to begin with, without a lot of energy. You could see it in warm-ups, and it seemed like it carried on into the game.
Yeah, I don't watch the warm-ups, but one of the assistant coaches told me, he said, Coach, I didn't want to go crazy on them, but they just didn't look like they had pop, and I was like, why? And he said, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was nerves. I don't know what it is. I got to talk to the guys and figure that out. But I thought we were still very good once we got 2 or 3 minutes into the game after I think they jumped out like 9-1. And then it was almost like they got shaken, and it was like, oh, we're playing. We got to get after it. And they responded very well from there for the rest of the first half in terms of defensively. But it was one of those deals where we're missing layups, missing free throws, and it's just unacceptable to be playing Division I basketball and not make wide open shots as a team. And it was collective. And so I've got to get them to get more shots going in practice, and we've got to restructure some things in how we're preparing.
Let's go to Wednesday night. UNLV taking on New Mexico, going for the season sweep against the Lobos. And again, a game that came down to the final possession.
New New Mexico came into this game without two starters. Both Dane Kuiper and Tim Williams were out with injuries. Early on, it was the Lobos' Obaj Jet who had an impact. The block inside and then getting the long outlet for the bucket and the bump. But the Rebels settled in nicely. Christian Jones with the spin move in the lane. Then Chekna Dembele to the rim. He gets the hoop and the harm. JoJo Mooring hit the fall away, and Tyrell Green goes lefty in the lane as UNLV moved out in front. Elijah Brown kept it close with the triple, but Dembele answered as everyone clears out and he throws it down. The outside shooting started heating up as Green knocked down a three, and JoJo gets a step back 18-footer. Then the defense, the steal by Jones in the backcourt, and he goes right to the rim for the lay-in. Late in the half, Mooring poured in a trifecta, and just before the buzzer, no foul called on New Mexico, and UNLV can't get a conversion. The two teams went into the locker room, tied at 35 at the half. This was nip and tuck the entire game, as neither team led by more than 6 points. Mooring feeds a cutting Zion Morgan for the bucket. Then off the steal, the Rebs run. JoJo dropping it back to CJ for the finger roll. And another steal by Mooring. He goes coast to coast for the lay-in. Green started feeling the stroke, creating some space for the jumper, and then knocking down a triple. There were, though, some defensive lapses. The Lobos with the ball moving to a jet for the slam, and Damian Jefferson connects from downtown. Just over a minute to go. The feed to a jet for another dunk, and Brown follows with a three. But Mooring hit a three of his own with 29 seconds left to cut it to three. After Brown hit 2 free throws, JoJo goes downtown again. It came down to the final 6.2 seconds. UNLV down 3. The Rebels set a play to avoid getting fouled, and Mooring gets a clean look at the three, but he slips as he sets his feet. The ball goes off the rim, and there would be no miracle at the MAC this time. New Mexico shoots 48% and out-rebounds the Rebels by 5. It was a game with 13 ties and 13 lead changes. The UNLV comes up 1 bucket short as they fall 80-77.
I got the look I wanted, but unfortunately I slipped on my way to shooting a shot. So, man, it happens.
I've been in a slump lately these last 5 games, so it felt good to have a game like that. But I mean, end of the day, we didn't get the win, so I'm not really happy about how I did.
It just come down to figuring it out. I think we lost the last 3 games by 7, 8 points, and I mean, it's just the little things, loose balls, offensive rebounds. Those are the type of things that come back to haunt us.
All right, so this New Mexico game really was lost on the defensive end because there was a lot of times when the Lobos had a jet all alone down low and got some easy paths to the basket.
Right. Yeah, defensively, I thought we did some good things early, but I tell you what, the kid, Elijah Brown, was really good at playing within himself. He made big shots, much like Clavel. He shared the ball when he needed to. Our strategy was good against him for the majority of the game, but when they needed a big one, he was there. And then, again, a jet got going, and you know, we fought that game. I was proud of the guys' fight.
I know a lot of the things you've talked about here in the last few weeks defensively has been communication on defense.
Right.
We've also touched on this is a pretty quiet team for a college basketball team.
Incredibly quiet, yeah.
How much does that factor in with them calling things out and helping each other out when they are really a team that doesn't talk a whole lot on the floor?
It's unfortunately it's translated in a negative way for us, to be quite honest. There's no excuses. We've done several things to make them talk or put them on the line, or if you don't communicate on this, then we put them on the line. But then when they get back into the adrenaline going and the butterflies are going and the game's up and down, they go back to their comfort level, which is just trying to stop their guy and not playing team defense the way that's supposed to be played. You know, I feel like our scouts have been pretty good, and they're paying attention to the scouts. It's just not You know, that communication piece is critical whenever you want to have a successful defensive outing. You've got to be able to talk. And unfortunately, that's not what we do naturally. But we're trying to force them to do it a little bit. And it's gotten better, but it's still not anywhere near where it needs to be by the time we enter the conference tournament.
Well, the best part about college basketball is if you have a bad week, you know there's going to be another game just around the corner, and it is a biggie coming up for UNLV. Straight ahead in the Reb Zone, we break down UNR as the Rebels get ready for the rivalry game on Wednesday night. Stay with us.
You're watching the Fox 5 Reb Zone Sports Show, presented by R.C. Willey. Your home, your way.
Big week for the Runnin' Rebels as they play UNR for the first time on Wednesday night in Reno and then come back home to take San Jose State on Saturday.
There might not be a can at stake, but the basketball game between UNLV and UNR carries weight as well. Make no mistake, the Wolfpack players have had the bitter rivalry drilled into their heads just as much as the football players. Last year, the team split the season series, both winning on home court. In Reno, the Wolfpack rallied for a win that set off a raucous celebration led by head coach Eric Musselman. Who ironically is stressing this year for his team not to get overhyped.
I think that, you know, you got to kind of keep a level head when you're playing against UNLV. It's just one game on your schedule, although it is important that our players understand that it's got a little bit more meaning to the boosters and former players and the community. So it's one game on your schedule, but it does have a little more pop and zip to it than a normal game.
This game has added juice with former Runnin' Rebel head coach Dave Rice as one of Musselman's assistants, and you know the Wolfpack will have something added to play for. The UNR is also considered the best team in the Mountain West this season, leading the conference in scoring offense, rebounds, and three-point defense. Cameron Oliver is a force to be reckoned with in the middle. In the top 15 in the Mountain West in scoring with 15 a game, the top 5 in rebounding with 8 a game, and leading the conference in block shots, an area of his game that he takes seriously.
I think it's timing, you know, and, you know, it's more kind of knowing the player. You know, I really take the scouting reports really serious, you know, so definitely see who's really much of a shooter, who's a pump faker, you know, stuff like that.
UNR will come into this game rested, having an entire week off since last Wednesday's blowout loss at Utah State. This could be the toughest road test of the season, but in rivalry games, everything is thrown out the window. On Saturday, San Jose State comes to town to play the Rebels for the second time in 2 weeks. On January 28th, the Spartans erased a 9-point halftime deficit and beat UNLV 76-72 in a game that the Rebels went 8 for 23 on layups and dunks. UNLV also struggled containing San Jose State's Brandon Clark, who had 23 points and 15 rebounds, including 2 straight trips down the floor with an offensive rebound and putback. Ryan Wellage was effective as well, shooting 8 of 14 from the floor, while Terrell Brown got to the line 8 times. Those 3 players combined for 56 of the Spartans' 76 points. Priority number 1, slowing down Clark. Do that, and this could be a good afternoon for the Runnin' Rebels.
So UNR is the cream of the crop right now in the Mountain West. Cameron Oliver is really the cog that makes their wheels spin. That guy can do a lot of things on both ends of the floor.
Well, anytime you have an NBA player at this level in Mountain West Conference, you're going to have a chance to win ball games. And then when you surround him with some toughness and some guys that can shoot it and some savviness, then you put yourself in a good situation. That's why they're fighting at the top of the league right now. They've got a couple good anchors, and then they've got some really good parts.
All but 2 players that hit the floor here have not played in this rivalry game, and they're also not from the state of Nevada. How do you pound that into them, the importance to the fans, the alumni, that this UNR-UNLV game is? Right. It's not just a regular game.
No, it's definitely not. And we've already begun that process just by talking about it and bringing some specifics to their attention about what the impact of that game, and people care. People care about that game at a high level. You've got UNR and UNLV in some households, and it's it's war that week. So we've got to make sure that we're on alert and on full alert to bring our A game. We can't go out there and play one half. We've got to play two halves, put ourselves in a position to be in the fight at the end of the game.
On Saturday, San Jose State comes to the Thomas and Mack, and this is a rare instance where you face a team for the second time in 2 weeks, and I would say coming off of a loss, maybe that's a good thing for UNLV. That game's still fresh in everybody's mind, and maybe the adjustments can be made, especially when it comes to Brandon Clark, who's just a good player.
Yeah, I think I heard they beat the Lobos at the case today. So they're better and much improved. I thought obviously we had a chance to win that game on the road, so we've got to understand that we got them at home and we got to play better basketball than we did down the stretch there in San Jose. So again, every game is separate from the others, so you got to make sure that you're looking at the small tweaks and seeing if you can steal a few possessions here and there, so to speak, so that you can give your team a competitive advantage.
We're going to step away from basketball for a second and talk a little UNLV football. Up next, we sit down with head coach Tony Sanchez to talk about the recruiting class for 2017. We'll be right back.
You're watching the Fox 5 Red Zone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Welcome back inside the Red Zone. We're joined now by UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez to talk a little bit about National Signing Day. And how would you characterize overall this class that you have bringing into UNLV?
It's a good class. I mean, again, we had a variety of different groups, and again, I talked about earlier, we're recruiting to a different roster now. It's a talented roster. It has depth, so this kind of solidifies some of that depth. Add some extra guys into there that will have some immediate impact, especially with your mid-year community college guys transferring in. So it's a good class of talented kids, and we feel like it's going to again further help us move forward faster.
How much of a difference is it to be able to recruit guys that are going to go out and compete for a starting job rather than recruit guys that you're just going to have to play because you have no depth? It's
a big deal. I mean, again, when you have guys coming back, guys you redshirted last year, guys that have playing experience, you have a depth to the roster, you have talented guys coming in. Again, it just solidifies that culture of competition, and that's a big deal. I mean, at times we've been really thin. I mean, you saw it last year. You lose a guy here and there in certain spots, and the drop off is huge. Well, we should be eliminating that drop off with again some of the younger guys that kind of got thrown into the fire last year, some of the guys that we were able to redshirt this class coming in. I really think you're starting to see a roster that has quality depth to it.
There are a lot of spots, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that need help immediately. Are you comfortable with what you have coming back and what you've recruited to, that those spots, especially on the D-line, the linebackers, and in the defensive backfield, that you have guys that can step up and play?
I'm confident we have guys that can step up and play, but a lot of it's going to be based on their progression, and how much they get it. I mean, it's one of those deals where they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to do it fast. We're going to have to do a great job as a coaching staff of getting these guys ready, and they're going to have to do a great job of really being coachable, showing maturity. I mean, again, you had a lot of young guys that played a lot last year. Again, Mouton, he's played for 2 years now. We got to see some improvement there. I'm saying? He's done a good job at times, but he's a young guy. You look at Tim Huff, another guy. It took the last 2 years. He's played a bunch. It's time for him really to step up and have a really good year for us. Robert Jackson's the guy that started that latter part of the year before that arm injury. You got him coming back, and we have some safeties. Austry and Javen White, Dalton Baker. They've played a lot. Now they got to play at a higher level. I mean, again, they got thrown in kind of early, and then with the guys coming in, that's going to push them even more. So I really look at that, that group and go like, all right, you know what, we've got some guys, defensive end area, we're going to need, again, some of the guys we brought in to really push that group. But there's guys there. We just need depth there. Guys like Rodney Jones I talked about earlier. I think he's going to have a great year for us.
Finally, congratulations first off on the contract extension. How much of an impact does that have on recruiting, so parents know that all right, this guy's signed to a contract for the entire time that my son is going to be coming to UNLV?
A big part of their decision is the relationship with the head coach, position coach, coordinator, and I think it just, solidifies and strengthens that, knowing that they're going to be there. There's some security there that, the guys that we're coming in, that we're committing to, are going to be there through the long haul. So I think it's big. I mean, anytime you can add that stability, I mean, it's big on a lot of different deals. It's big with our current roster. It's big with the kids we're bringing in. It's big with the community when you're going out and you're fundraising. They realize that this vision that they're giving towards it is a big part of it, So, I mean, continuity is something we just haven't had here for a long, long time. So to have that continuity, and again, we got to continue to move forward. We got to continue to win more games. I mean, we all understand that, at some point it becomes a bottom line business, and we're getting to that point. But I'm excited that we have the opportunity to go ahead and to further move this thing, forward. And, again, we would have loved to have won a lot more games last year. Certain circumstances, maybe it could have been different, maybe not, I don't know. But I know that we've gotten better every year, and it's been tough to do around here. But this is a tough nut to crack, but it's almost cracked. So here we go.
All right, spring practice in a few weeks, Coach. Thank you.
A month from today.
We're a month from today, even better, Coach. Thanks, and we'll be back to wrap up the Red Zone with the Runnin' Rebels Plays of the Week right after this. Stay with us.
You're watching the Fox 5 Reb Zone Sports Show, presented by R.C. Willey. Your home, your way.
All right, Coach, the big one on Wednesday night. Reno, good luck. I know this is going to be a fun one that gets the intensity level back up in everybody.
Well, if I got to motivate them to play hard, or if I got to coach effort in this game, something's wrong with these guys. Yeah, that'll be a fun game.
We're looking forward to it. We'll be in Reno with the team. Preview for you on Tuesday night on Fox 5 News at 10, and then, of course, highlights and post-game reaction on Wednesday. We'll break it down for you next week in the Red Zone. For now, we're going to leave you with the Runnin' Rebels Plays of the Week. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Fox 5 Reb Zone Sports Show was presented by R.C. Willey. Your home, your way.